Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free, impartial advice on all your debt.
Razavani for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. With me on this gloomy Tuesday, late afternoon, early evening, with me, Dave Coldwell. Dave, how are we doing?
I'm not bad, mate. Not bad at all. What about yourself?
Not bad, not bad. I emphasize the word gloomy because it's very gloomy here in the south. How's it there in the north?
Yeah. Raining. It's obviously raining because I'm going to be going out and coaching the kids football tonight. So it always rains whenever we're playing football or whether we're training. Always. I don't mind actually because I've had some work done on my garden. I've had some turf laid. So apparently it just needs to have it rain all the time and it'll be all right. So I don't mind a bit of rain right now.
Normally, whenever we talk, we always talk a little bit about football. But I must say today we are going to talk nothing about football, about Liverpool or Manchester United. Even though
we'll skip
may
that.
have felt better after Liverpool game, I know, but we're going to leave that away from the conversation today.
Definitely felt better. Don't feel good, but definitely felt better.
Dave, I haven't actually caught up with you for a little while, actually. I think it's been a couple of months since we last spoke. Before I talk anything about boxing, we spoke a couple of times during lockdown and how hard it was, the whole lockdown period itself. Are you fearful that we are now going and getting closer to potentially another nationwide lockdown over the coming weeks?
It seems the narrative on the news, it's all this doom and gloom bullshit again, trying to scare people and having everybody fearful of everything and depressed and everything. But surely you look at what's happened with Cineworld. I mean, one of my friends is one of the top managers of Cineworld, and he was explaining to me about it all. And then you see Odeon following suit, going to weekends only, and it's going to be more and more big companies that employ a lot of people. Now, the smaller companies have got no chance. The smaller businesses, they've got no chance. So if they're seeing that there's all these people that are suffering and all these businesses are suffering and the economic impact, if they go into another proper lockdown, the ones that are struggling so hard just to keep their head above water, they're going to go under. There's no two ways about it. They're going to go under. The ones that are still around today have done it by the skin of the teeth, and they're thankful that they've made it and they've been able to carry on. But so many of those will go under if we go into lockdown again. And I could go into it so much. I find it frustrating that the world's most deadliest disease, and I'm saying the world's most deadliest because with every other pandemic that has been and every other sort of disease that's come, and I'm going back to when AIDS came about, I remember the fear that everyone had back then, I think I was 82, 84, something like that. Then obviously you've had your SARS and things like that. The world's never been shut down for anything. So the world's been shut down for this one. So this is supposed to be the world's deadliest disease. But it's that deadly. Everybody knows they have the virus, the illness. It's that deadly that they don't have the symptoms. They don't know that they've got it. They don't feel poorly that they've got it. And then when they're getting it, they're getting symptoms. It's like a bit of cold, and they say, "Oh yeah, I feel a bit rough." But what's the strange thing is you've got a man getting it, goes home, he doesn't know he's got it, goes home, spends time with his kids, he's in his same environment as his family and, with wife and kids interaction, and he's got it, then he gets asked to isolate and everything, but the family doesn't get it. It's that contagious, and I'm hearing it over and over again. And it's just, I don't know. Obviously, there's something there, and obviously, there's people that have died from it and suffered from it. But then when you're hearing from before, when they were saying, "Oh yeah, within 28 days, died for any reason," after that means that they could have died of anything. I know people that have actually had, cancer and things like that, and then it's writing where it's wrote down that they died of COVID. it's just, there's that many lies and that much of a web about this that you don't know what to believe, and you can't trust a government that wants to lie to you about something major like that. You know, remember they came out and they admitted that if you was to test positive 3 weeks ago, walk out and get hit by a bus, on your certificate it's saying that you died of COVID. Now, once you admit to something like that, how can you be believed on anything? You know, and like I said, it's just, there's never been this sort of, and I understand people say, oh yeah, but you can't catch cancer, you can't catch it. But you can walk into a shop and there's rows and rows of cigarettes and stuff like that with the government warning that says smoking kills, but they're happy for you to go and buy them cigarettes because they're earning all this money off the tax. They're happy for that, but yet this disease, this virus, they want to shut you down because they're looking after you and they want to protect your health, you know? There's so many things about it. I just don't know. I don't know. But all I do know is that by stopping the world, you're causing so much more of an issue, because there are people that maybe have just got through lockdown with the positivity and with the mental health intact, that if we go into another one, they're going to go. There's people that have just got through this. There's families that have just got through this financially. But then there's so many families that haven't. There's houses popping up for sale all over the place, and it's not like people, oh God, all these houses up for sale all of a sudden. Might be because people are losing their jobs. Might be because people can't afford the mortgages. And it's not just here; it's all over. I mean, you look at LA now, and you look at the amount of. I mean, it's always been bad for homelessness, but all of a sudden now there's loads. I saw something on the news where it's like literally just tents all over the place on the walkways and things, and it's just going to get worse, because if you're shutting businesses down, if you're stopping people from earning a living, yes, they might not get this really bad flu, really bad cold, but they're going to lose everything else, and you can't do that. And for our sport and for our livelihoods, there's a select few that are attached to major promoters that are running shows right now, a select few, and those select few are part of a stable where they're all having to wait in line to get the dates. Fighters that would normally fight 4 times a year, 3 times a year, are going to get once a year. Fighters that are starting off in the career, that are supposed to be fighting 6, 7 times a year, going to get once, maybe twice a year. And this is stunting our sport, the small old boxing, it cannot survive. It can't, because it's based on ticket sales. And it's like, you can't sell a ticket now. So how can a small old promoter put on an event? So the small old boxing circuit died. So the fighters that are sacrificing and gambling, not going out and getting a job and trying to be a full-time boxer because they want to progress their careers and things like that, or having a part-time job to work around the boxing, they're now not earning from boxing. So a lot of these are going to have to go and get a job, and then so that's obviously taken away from their potential and their boxing career. But now they're having to go and get a job, if they can get a job, because jobs are going thin on the ground. So I'm handling it all right personally, because I'm quite a positive person. But yes, I am worried, because obviously the knock-on effect is, I'm a trainer. I get paid when my fighters fight. There's fighters that I manage, I get paid when they fight. But if there are no shows, then I'm not earning, I'm lucky that I had Jordan Gill and Opie Price box, but they're not on big money. So my percentages are small. Their wages are small. So they've not got no other earnings coming in, So it's you have to look at things especially when you've got a family, you look at things, long term. And yes, it's a worry, but I'm in a better position than what I was 4 or 5 years ago. With my wife, we were talking, if this was 5 years ago, we'd be in all heap of shit. And so I look at it and think, thank God that I'm not where I was. But I look at other people that are, and worse than where I was, and you know, it's just awful. I remember when I was younger. I remember when my dad came in, and he basically he got made redundant because somebody else higher up didn't do the job properly. The company got into trouble. That's it. He did his job every single day. He was at a company for 25 years, worked his balls off, did everything right. It wasn't his fault. And then because he was, I think he was probably about middle 50 something, around that sort of age, and yeah, about 52 I think it was. And he never got another job. Nobody would take him on because he was too old. And then at that point in time, everything kind of like switched to computers and stuff like that. He went through I heard something about the chat. I think Chancellor said about people need to go and retrain to get another job. He did that. Now, obviously, I'm talking about years ago, but he went through the whole retraining, trying to learn computers. But still, people wanted the younger generation to work, not some middle-aged guy. And so I remember how that impacted our family. That, you know, that's it. I'm on dinner tickets at school getting picked on and poked at fun because we couldn't afford anything from then on. So I'm seeing this is going to happen to I know it still happens and people still lose jobs before COVID, but now it's on a mass scale. Now that I went through, it's going to go through families like wildfire, and it is doing right now like wildfire. And people are happy for this all to happen for something that seems to have got something like a 99% survival rate. You know, it's frustrating and it's scary because there's an agenda behind it. There's got to be an agenda behind it. You know, there's got to be.
What was your reaction last week? I think it was the first time a boxer tested positive for coronavirus. Jazza Dickens. I spoke to Jazza a couple of times during the build-up. They obviously waited a long time for that final, and then we can just go on. Eddie Hearn tested positive.
Yeah.
Barry Hearn tested positive. So it is starting to come into effect into boxing as well now.
It is. I was gutted for Jazza and Ryan Walsh. I was gutted for him because it's like anything. When we went for this COVID test, we were like, oh, we passed the test. But again, you feel great. You don't think you've got anything, and we passed. Obviously, Jazza spoke and he said that he got no symptoms whatsoever. It feels so good. This is what's a bit of a mind fuck about this, because when you're an elite athlete and you're in that shape, you're sharp on the pads, everything, you feel fantastic, you're ready to fight, you're that close to fight, you're ready to fight. If you come down with a little bit of cold, a little bit of something, bug, bit of chest, whatever, you feel it just a little bit. You just feel that edge come off you. But listening to what Jazz has had to say, what I've seen is that he didn't have a clue that he'd got anything wrong with him. He felt fine. He felt great. Again, this horrendous disease, I keep calling it a disease, but I don't know what it is. Virus, whatever it is. He's got it, but he don't know he's got it. Do you know what I mean? And like you say, Eddie and Barry, they've got it. And Donald Trump's got it. And people around him haven't got it. You know, but I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. It's frustrating. And when you saw that happen with Jazza and Ryan, and you see what it does to the show, now every show that comes up now, I know the worry's been there for the promoters and the fighters going into each fight that's been already, but now it's actually happened where a main event's caved in because of that. Now you're going to shit yourself big time. And then how many of those happen before then? It's like, because it costs money to put these events on, whether, you know, it costs a lot of money to put these events on, but, you know, for it not to, for the main event not to be there. I mean, they were lucky because they've got the O'Hara Davis fight. But if it was a normal show where it's just like one title fight and then the rest of the card there, one main event that anyone's interested in, then it would be, you know, it would be a problem. So I don't know. It's a difficult one.
Dave, I know you're running short of time, so let's just rumble on with some quick questions about boxing. Did you see Joshua Whyte on the weekend? How did he look?
Yeah. It's a good learning fight for him. Very good learning fight for him. He needs them kind of fights. He needs people to punch him back. You know, everybody that's fought him, it's kind of like they're a little bit in awe of Buatsi and perhaps. I always think there's a big difference between fighters that are coming to give it a go and fighters that expect to beat you. And that's when the real fights start. When you're in with a guy that expects to beat you, that knows that he might lose a few rounds, knows that it might be a little bit tough, but he's willing to go through that in order to pull off a win because he expects to beat you. So that was a good learning fight for him. The guy was hitting him back. The only thing that I would say, the only worry that I've got about Joshua Watsi is that I think offensively he's fantastic, vicious, he's spiteful, he's very, very good, puts his punches together really, really well. But I've always said it. He gets hit with right hands a lot, you know. And I think in the first round he got nailed with about three right hands, maybe four, 3 right hands, good right hands, and it still happened. And then obviously his eye went, and then you can't see it, and then it amplifies it. But again, he turned it around, and his spite and toughness and offensive ability won the fight. But it was a good learning fight. But it wasn't a world level fight. So I'm not on this where I think he's only a couple of fights away from world titles. I'm on this where keep him, you know, I want to see, listen, we all want to see Yard, but we're not going to get that next. I want to see him and Callum Johnson. That's a great domestic fight. That Callum Johnson's fought at world level, came up short, but put up a good account of himself. You know, he showed that he's got that power at world level. So for me, in my opinion, he has world level power because he's dropped a guy that's elite, so a top world class fighter. So I believe he's got world level power because you have fighters that have got great power domestically, Commonwealth, international sort of level, but you don't know. And then when they step up to world level, that power don't quite carry the same. I believe Callum Johnson has. I believe Joshua Buatsi is a world level prospect. I want to see them two fight. Let's see how that goes, and then they move on. Then they move into world class. You know, a Yard fight if it can be made. The reason why I say if it can, because there's so many different things in there. Because you've got the Warren thing, you've got the Hearn thing, and it's Eagles. You've got the TV thing with BT, and you got Sky. So many things to work out. So instead of farting about waiting for the right time for that to happen, if that ain't gonna happen, Callum Johnson's in the same stable. Make the fight.
Do you see Johnny Nelson's comments about Callum Johnson and Joe Gallagher's response?
Yeah.
No, he did.
I don't know. I don't think. I don't know. I remember watching at the time. I thought it can't mean that Callum doesn't think he'll win the fight. I don't think he meant that. I think he was talking about that in some sort of in relation to something else. I might be wrong. I don't know. Without watching it back again and listening to what he said, I can't remember because I watched it on the night. I thought, huh? I thought, no, he's kind of like put that across wrong. But I don't know. He's not explaining himself. But I saw Joe's comment. Listen, Joe's always going to comment about his fighters if he backs his fighters 100%. No, I don't believe that Callum Johnson doesn't believe he'll beat Buatsi. Of course he does. But I don't know the background with Callum Johnson, why he's always been so inactive and things like that in his career. I don't understand what the crack is with that. Injuries, whatever. I don't know. All I know is that I didn't realise he was as old as what he is. I was like, shit. And then he put something up on his Insta, I think yesterday. It's 2 years since he fought Beterbiev. Like, fucking hell, where's that time gone? And what's happened with his career since then? I think he got an injury and things. He's just had so much bad luck. And again, I'd like him to get a good crack because he hasn't had an easy career. He hasn't had he hasn't had things smooth and plain sailing. So I'd like him to get a crack at something big. And for me, Buatsi and Johnson is a massive fight.
Dave announced it also last week. Daniel Dubois and Joyce finally taking place. Both have agreed terms and conditions for the fight to take place behind closed doors. We know initially there were dates in, I think, June, July, September.
Is there a date? Is there a date for it?
Well, Frank Warren has said it's either going to be the last 2 weeks of November or the first week of December.
Right. I will get excited when there's a date for it and it's all announced. It's like when people ask me about Kell Brook and Amir Khan. There's so much talk about it. I'll get excited when it's made. And it's this fight with Dubois and Joyce is fantastic that they've agreed and everything like that. But it's not done because there's no date. It's not been announced. So I won't get excited yet. It's a fantastic fight. I was excited first time around when I thought it was all set, but obviously with everything that went off, I think it's fantastic that from all parties that they've actually managed to thrash it out, because I know they're going to have took some sort of pay cut. You know, it's like if you want the big fight to happen now, you're going to have to take a bit of a pay cut because there's no gate. It's just part of what's happening right now. So it's fantastic that they all got their heads together and thrashed out a deal, and that's brilliant. But I will get excited about it once I know what day it is.
Well, we know the date of another fight that's going to take place end of this month. Usyk and Chisora, somebody you know very, very well. I just want to ask you a question. Is this going to be, I know this is Usyk's first proper real heavyweight fight against someone who comes forward and can punch. But we know Derek Chisora, we saw him when he fought in Monaco, where it wasn't the greatest performance.
It was, but it wasn't motivated, was it?
But what my question is, the fact that it's behind closed doors, you know, we know
that's my worry.
Chisora loves the O2, the crowd, the Lions Den, everyone cheering his name. Is that going to be the element that's going to be the difference in this fight?
I've always said that that's my worry for Chisora. Chisora, Conor Benn, they're two fighters that stand out to me that really get juiced up from the crowd. And that might be that might be something that's to take into account. But I don't know. I think once the bell's gone, I think Derek will he just knows that he needs to smash him up, and I think he'll just go and go and go. Jordan said to me that and Hope, he said to me that once the bell went, it didn't really matter. But they're fighters that are kind of like thinking fighters. I'm not saying Derek's not, but Derek's more, like I said, about the crowd, and he gets juiced up and he's pumped and he reacts to the crowd and things like that. And you know, in those moments when he has tough spots, crowd start singing his name and things like that. I don't know if that plays a part. It's something that we don't know until the fights happen, how people react to these things, because people react differently.
Well, announced also this week, it seems like Deontay Wilder has split with Mark Breland, long-term trainer of Deontay Wilder. We're not sure where Deontay is going to go. There are certain rumours that he might bring in Malik Scott to take on more of a senior role in camp with him. But what do you make of the whole split? You felt like it should have come a lot earlier, or if it was going to happen?
I just think that the way that Breland was treated after the last fight, because he threw the towel in, looking after him, I think was wrong. Then I was surprised that they worked that out. But then to sack him now at this point, again, it's not an unexpected move. But I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't know anything other than just reading that they're split. So it's hard when you don't see what's going on behind closed doors. It's very, very hard to make a proper judgment. But I don't see it as a plus point for him. I see it as a negative. That's how it is. And like I said, I was initially surprised after the way that he treated him after initially after the fight. I was surprised he actually got back together and or he stayed on board. I was surprised with that anyway. But yeah, now they've split at this point. I think it's strange. I think it's a bit of a surprise.
They just finally, Dylan Whyte, a couple of weeks out now, 7 odd weeks from his rematch with Povetkin. Are you still involved? What's the latest with that? Are you going to be involved when he's back in the UK?
I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's not my place to speak about. That's Xavier's and Dillian's to let you guys know what the plan is and what's happening. Spoke with Dillian after the fight. Spoke to him since, but I don't know. It's not my place to say really.
Okay, Dave. I don't want to get cursed by your little boy because I know it's.
He's there. He stood there waiting for me.
Well, it's 18:38. I finished 2 minutes early,
Cool.
so you can't say anything to me. Appreciate your time, Dave. Enjoy football.
Cheers. Thanks, will do.
And we'll catch up with you soon. Dave Coldwell for IFL TV.
Nice one. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Is your debt causing you sleepless nights? Knock your debt out with Debt KO. And your debt won't be the only thing keeping you up at night. Debt KO, free impartial advice on all your debt.